is going to be the medicine ball clean and press. On this one, critical to keep the chest up. Now, what you don't realize, you want to be in a wide stance. When you do the clean and press, if you do it properly, you're actually opening your hips. You know that when we do our exercises where we do the sumo squat and we do in our warm-up, we're opening our hips. This is an active way to open the hips. Come down, keep that chest up. If they can only go this far before they do this, they only need to go this far. Make sure that you do not see people doing this. This is all lower back. Okay, we want to get the medicine ball to the ground, but it's not as important as the form, not nearly as important. Now, again, if you want a little bit more, you simply add a little bit of speed. Then you can add the hop. But again, remember, there is a principle behind each one of these exercises, and a lot of these exercises have built-in stretches to them, built-in recoveries. That's a built-in stretch, just like the mountain climbers. Make sure the members utilize them. It will minimize injuries and prevent issues in the future. Now, is the burpee to box jump. So what you're going to do, again, for the beginner, they're simply going to do a burpee, just like this, okay? There is no box jump, okay? Simply a burpee. For most people, it's going to look something like this. They're going to come down, do a burpee, and then they're going to come up here, and they're going to step up, okay? Now, they want a little bit more out of that, come back, and they hop up, step down. You want a little bit more out of that. Okay, it's all about speed. It's all it comes down to. But you don't want somebody who's not capable of that speed doing that speed, because they'll end up head first into the mirrors. Or the wrong size box height. You don't have to go crazy on the box height. Trust me, that is hard enough. Only the very advanced people need to use the bigger box. That's why you're going to want to have another setup over here, because we need to have at least 4 stations, 4 people. And these big boxes is going to probably be a bit much for most of our members. Okay, so you have another station over here, and you're going to put some risers underneath that one. Next is going to be the Russian medicine ball twist. Don't have to go heavy. I'd rather see you lighter weight, better range of motion. Key here, again, you can always do a crunch or a plank or anything else if this bothers them. Key is my shoulder. My shoulder comes across. Notice my shoulder should be in between my legs each time I do this. That engages more of the core. You need a little bit more, pull those feet off the ground. Need a little bit more, add a little bit more load. But again, I would rather see the range of motion before I see the load. That's an active recovery. Next, we have the jump over box squat. So once again, for a new person, it is going to be all the way on the ground. You can set up another bench if you need to, or just remove the steps. For them, they're going to walk up, walk off, walk on, walk off. Again, to make it easier, they simply slow this pace down. They can go as slow as they want. They can stand here for a second, then come off. Okay? If they need a little bit more, then they just speed that cadence up. So if they've got bad knees or something like that, they can also do something like this. They're going to just speed the cadence up. All they're doing is speeding the pace up. Again, for most people, you're going to have a little bit of height on here. You don't need a ton. You're set up for 1, 2, 3 risers. You also have some other risers over there for people that maybe need a little bit more, or they can take them off if they need less. Again, what you demonstrate is right here. A nice squat, deep squat. The more you want to get out of this exercise, the deeper you go. If you want a little bit more out of this, that's when you add that hop. Hopping from side to side. Notice when I come down, I keep my chest up. I'm using my glutes to power up. I'm not coming over, and you'll see people do this, where they're coming over, they're bending like this. That's working the lower back, and you're putting a lot of stress on the knees. You want to make sure that you come back. It's almost like a lunging position there. 60 mountain climbers. Now, the key on this is we put a lot of pressure, or we work our calves quite a bit, building up a lot of scar tissue, a lot of adhesions. We tighten up those calves. What we want to do is we want to loosen them up. So this is an exercise we can get an active stretch in it on top of a cardio workout. So your handles go underneath the armpits. And I would say the shoulder joint, because armpit seems nasty. So you don't want to say armpit, you want to say shoulder joint. Here, all they're doing is basically a fast walk. This is what you're demonstrating. But the key here is my heel. You'll notice my heel is going all the way to the ground. It's not staying up. I'm not keeping my heel off the ground. All I'm doing with that is tightening up my calf. That's going to give potentially plantar fasciitis, knee issues, Achilles issues, all that kind of good stuff. I want to make sure that I get a good stretch on that calf. Okay? So if I wanted more of a stretch, I go a little bit further. That's also going to give me a little bit more core work as well. Then I speed it up. But don't have somebody who's 50 pounds overweight come all the way down here and stretch their calves out and really just jam them into the ground, because they can end up rupturing that calf muscle. So you start them up a little bit higher, try to get that calf down, then increase the speed, then start lowering them down. Okay, that circuit we're going to do the slider rockers. So you have your sliders, and all they're going to do is you're going to put your balls of your feet on these sliders. Now, for a new person, they can do an elevated plank. For example, for somebody who's severely overweight, again, anytime there's a planking position or any type of a plank, mountain climber or anything, they can do mountain climbers over here. Plank, this is a plank for them. That's all they have to do. The lower that box, or the lower elevated, so they can do a plank here. They can do them on the boxes over there. You're going to have your toes on the sliders. You're going to come out into a plank position, and you're just going to rock back and forth. That's all we're doing. Now, if they can't do it on their toes, they can be on their knees, and they can just simply rock back and forth. Really, all we're doing is an active recovery. Sliding, when you're on the sliders, it makes it harder to do the exercise, so they don't need to move at all. If they want a little bit more, that's when they start adding in the rocking. The further they go out, the harder this is. The more they stay over their shoulders, over their elbows over their shoulders, or underneath their shoulders, the easier it's going to be. So the further those elbows go out, the harder that exercise is. Next, we have the lateral box run. So the lateral box run, it's up, up, down, down, up, up, down, down. Again, for somebody who's severely overweight, all they're going to do is slow it down. Very, very slow. They can go to the point where they just come up, down, down, up, up. So it's really easy to make any of these exercises super easy, which is what we want to do with somebody who's severely overweight. Most people can handle this. They just slow the cadence down. Again, we're not falling forward. We want to keep a nice, clean posture. Now, you want a little bit more, you start speeding this up. The faster you go, the harder this is. If you really want to get it hard, keep that head from bobbling up and down. Next, the alternating kettlebell swing, single arm kettlebell swing. So on this one, again, most people don't need much weight. Some will need a little bit more weight. This one, the weight kind of drives the heart rate. So you can use a little bit more weight on this one, but for some people, they don't need to. For your very beginner, all they have to do, no weight at all, all they're going to do is alternate and minimize the squat, so you can do something like this. And all we're doing is getting them ready, and all you're doing is preparing the motion for kettlebell swings in the future. They want a little bit more, they go a little bit deeper, they go a little bit faster. That's all they're going to be doing. So everybody else, we switch at the top. We come down, we're in a squat position. We try to keep our chest up. We're not going to keep it completely up. We're going to fall forward just a little bit, but we're thrusting with our hips. We're not swinging like this. This is not what we want to do. That puts too much stress on the lower back. We're thrusting. So you notice my hips, we're thrusting up. We're using our glutes. This is more of a glute exercise. You're going to really involve the glutes on this exercise. Again, you want a little bit more, start increasing the weight. Increase the range of motion, increase the weight. We have V-up crunches. So for most people, well, for the new people, especially new people, here's a crunch. Now, if they have a hard time getting down on the floor, you can always bring a box over here. They can sit on the box and they can do crunches on the box. Okay, again, we're getting a lot of new members, and a lot of our members are severely out of shape. Okay, now you want a little bit more, you just crunch. You do the crunch this way. Want a little bit more, crunch, extend, crunch, extend. Want a little bit more, you crunch, extend, crunch, extend. Or you can do your V up. Okay, try to keep the legs and the upper body straight. So you're coming up just like that. Again, you can make it as easy or as hard as we want. Next, slam ball slams. You guys all know how to do this. You follow the ball down. Anybody can get this thing to catch it on the bounce, because all you do is follow it. But try to keep that chest up, drop the hips, drive that butt back so that you're not over your toes like this. You'll see a lot of people do this. That's not what I want to see. I want to see that butt go back. I want them to feel it in the glutes, not in the knees or in the quads. You want a little bit more, you simply speed that up. You want more, obviously you add that hop in there. That one will drive the heart rate through the roof because you're using both your upper and lower body.